Boom, 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 boom. I want to answer the question, why do we teach Spanish in elementary school? Now the answer to this question is actually quite simple. It is because we believe it is the right thing to do. Why do we believe it is the right thing to do? Well, let's take a look at some facts. The Spanish language is the second most spoken language in the world. Out of all the countries in the world, the United States has the second largest Spanish-speaking population. With the widespread use of this language, we know that Spanish in and of itself is a very marketable and sometimes necessary 21st century skill. In high school, students are now required to take a world language, and an overwhelming majority of four-year colleges and universities require a minimum number of semesters of a world language. These institutions of higher education realize the necessity of knowing another language. With the changes in population demographics and global connectivity, many employers are looking for employees that speak more than just English. Oftentimes what they are looking for is someone that can speak Spanish. Beginning the path to learning a second language before high school and before college is actually a true investment. As students are admitted to college, they will take a world language proficiency exam. With their prior studies of a foreign language, they may be able to test out of certain classes in college and therefore save hundreds of dollars they would have spent on those credit hours. Also, in many work settings, employees that can speak more than one language are oftentimes paid more than their monolingual peers. Now, this may be a little hard to see evident here in Central Kentucky, where most people speak English, but let's consider this. Are we limiting the horizons for our students, or are we going to set them up for success in wherever the future may take them? Still, the question remains, why teach Spanish in elementary school? Why not at least wait until high school? Well, studies show that the younger one is exposed to another language, the quicker and easier the path is towards verbal fluency. The same concept applies to learning an instrument. The best path towards mastery begins at a very young age. Let's consider how math is taught. In kindergarten, we begin introducing numbers, counting some basic symbols. As we proceed through the grade levels, we throw in addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, decimals, fractions. Then in high school, sometimes in middle school, we go into full-fledged algebra. Now, this concept isn't completely foreign to students because they have been taking steps to arrive at this point since day one of school. We do not place students in algebra class with no prior knowledge of numbers, these different symbols or processes. We could do that. It would not be the right thing to do, but we could. It would be extremely difficult, but we could. The same concept applies to learning Spanish. Do we hold off until high school and set up students a path that is very difficult and sometimes frustrating? Or do we begin in kindergarten, introducing the students to the sounds of the alphabet, basic vocabulary? The same way we begin the math journey is the same way we need to begin the Spanish journey, from the beginning. With all this said, I know there are some parents and students that are still greatly concerned. They fear that somehow learning Spanish will impair the ability to learn English. That somehow learning Spanish will occupy a part of the brain that's supposed to be reserved for learning English and therefore do more damage than anything else. This train of thought is completely off track and untrue. On the contrary, actually learning another language helps one improve their native language proficiency. That is to say that learning Spanish actually helps one better understand English. The part of the brain developed and the skills used and developed in learning Spanish are the same for English. Therefore, the skills and what is going on is transferable. So learning Spanish helps one better understand and make improvements in English. Also, Learning another language is directly related to improvements in math. Bilingual students have actually shown higher marks on the ACT and SAT scores in comparison to their monolingual peers. Now, I could go on for quite some time about the importance I see in learning Spanish, especially at such a young age. But let me just say one more thing. For me personally, why do I teach Spanish? This is why. I believe that in education, we are equipping people for service, in whatever kind of capacity that is. I see every type of job offers a type of service to another person, whether it's out in the open or behind the scenes. And if we can speak more than one language, that increases our sphere of influence. I want to equip these students not only to be able to help certain people, but be able to cross those language barriers and provide service to lots of diverse people. But as a district, why do we teach Spanish in elementary school? Because we believe it is the right thing to do. Why do we believe it is the right thing to do? Because we are dedicated to student success.